Hello. So I just got back from the gym. I apologize if my voice is a little hoarse. Sometimes it gets like that after I'm done exercising. But I wanted to talk about why weights are bad today. I was getting kind of bored with my workouts, so I mixed it up, and every once in a blue moon I'll go back to my old routine of just lifting some weights, and to just kind of shock my brain, and get me thinking about really why calisthenics is so important. But I wanted to dive in why weights are bad. For me, lifting weights was one of the hardest things to get off of. It was very, very hard. And it took a while. Now you might be thinking, well, hey, lifting weights is great. Like, some people, it takes a lot for them to go to the gym and do that. I understand that, that's true, but lifting weights is all about, especially for guys, about how you look. It's about building big muscles and looking better. And it has nothing to do with actually building a superior physical body. An example would be, if you're running from a pack of zombies or whatever, and you're just a big buff guy or woman, and that comes from lifting dumbbells and doing things like that, and you can't push yourself over a fence, then you're useless. You're just dead weight. You're heavy muscle. But if you can do pull-ups and you're good at doing push-ups and stuff, then you're going to get over that fence and you're going to survive, essentially. Lifting weights, it's a big ego thing. Again, I use guys as a prime example because a lot of women, few girls will lift weights to try and build muscle like guys do. You see it every once in a while, but it's not very common. But with calisthenics, I'm losing my train of thought. Sorry, I haven't eaten yet, and I'm trying to think here. Imagine. Okay, wanted to say this. Try to put myself back into having, just beginning to work out and stuff. It seems like, from a complete beginner's point of view, that lifting weights is going to make you, quote unquote, stronger. But strength doesn't just come from your muscles. Strength doesn't come from only your muscles. There's so many things at work. You have tendons, your bones, ligaments. Like I said, I was lifting weights in the gym today, and a guy came up to me and he started talking to me, and he's a big guy, like a big freaking guy. And I told him, yeah, I don't usually, it's been a while since I lifted weights. I do calisthenics and stuff. And for you, if you don't know, calisthenics is body weight exercises. And he said, he was just talking, but one of the things that he said was, yeah, I have joint problems, and I'm just thinking, yeah, I wonder why. He's lifting up these huge freaking heavy weights. And what I'm getting at is, strength comes from the small unseen things. Muscles are just kind of like a physical representation of what's going on, but muscles are only a very small part of where strength comes from. The reason why I preach calisthenics so much, and I'm going to try not to preach calisthenics because that's not what I'm trying to do here, but what I'm trying to talk about right now is how important the small things that you don't see are, like ligaments and tendons and your bones and all of that. That's where true strength comes from, not showy muscles. Muscles are just a part of the equation. They're not the entire solution. And that's why I'm so huge on calisthenics, because calisthenics build a solid foundation. When you're building a building, you don't, you don't make one that just looks good and looks strong. Yeah, it's got, strong windows and it looks nice, so it must be a strong building. No, that's not how it works. You have to build a strong foundation. You have to dig that, especially if it's a large building, you have to dig that foundation into the ground, and then you start building up, and then you have a strong infrastructure that's usually made out of iron or steel. I'm talking about big buildings like a skyscraper or something. The strength comes from the inside. It's not, how the building looks. The building's not just slapped together. It's built from the inside out. And everyone who's working out nowadays tries to build themselves from the outside in, and that's just not how it works. That's why young guys and young women will work out great whenever they're, in their prime, but then when they're older, they stop and they get fat and they get old and they have joint problems and they're bending over and they got to walk with a cane and stuff. And it's because they're building from the outside in. They're wondering, how can I look better? Oh, it must be the muscles. Let me lift as heavy as weight as possible. And they're completely forgetting about the ligaments. They're forgetting about the tendons, and they're focusing all about how I look, and they're focusing on the external and not the internal. You have to build it from the inside out. I could talk about this all day. It's very important, and nobody, as far as I've heard, nobody talks about it. I would say that less than 1% of Americans exercise properly. Less than 1%. We're spoiled. We're a spoiled first world country. We're more concerned about scrolling on Facebook. I'm sorry to open up this book or open up this wound, but we're more concerned about scrolling on Facebook than we are about listening about a car bomb that went off in Syria and killed 6 kids. We're spoiled, and from being so spoiled like that, we don't take the time to think about how things really work and to get rid of our egos and to work from the inside out. We have huge egos. I'd say of all the countries on the planet, Americans have the biggest egos. It's a tough thing to say, but it's the truth. I mean, we're more concerned about looking good than we are about being healthy. And that's why I hammer this stuff so much. It's very important. It's strange to me being on the, what would I call it? There's a word for it. Just being out by the weights and everything in the gym, and guys coming up to and talking to you about how you look. It's really weird to me. And they got these huge mirrors, and guys are just, it's just one big ego thing after another. They're doing, bicep curls in front of the mirrors and stuff. It's just really strange to me. It's foreign to me. I mean, well, it's not foreign to me. I understand it. I've been there. And like I said, getting off of weights was one of the hardest things I ever did. Because I understood and I understand that not just about ligaments and tendons and building strength from the inside out, more than that, about, understanding that there's more. There's more, not just to weights and health, but to life. There's more than just your ego. There's so much more. I wrote on one of the cups that I was trying to sell at Steel City Con, the ego is like an iceberg, but beneath it is a vast ocean. And I mean that. It's very true. People are so concerned with what's right in front of them, and they don't see everything that's around them. Imagine if there was like a little park that you like to go to. It's a fenced off little enclosed park And you went there every so often and you hung out, and it was nice. It's a nice little park. They got some stuff going on. There's some trees and stuff. But past the fence that surrounds that little area is, it's a closed off area, but you can get to it. But past that fence is, like the world of Avatar. Not The Last Airbender, though I love The Last Airbender, but I'm talking about like James Cameron's out. Past that fence is James Cameron's Avatar with the floating mountains and, all this crazy stuff. Most people live in that little enclosed fence. If they even get to that fence, or they even go to that park every once in a while, they're looking around, they're like, it's pretty nice here. But it takes work to get past that fence, to go through that fence. Really not just work, and not only work, you're welcome to it. You're welcome to go through that fence and look at Pandora. But people don't want to, because there's a few shiny objects inside the little park. And it's not so much that they're content with it, it's their egos just don't even want anything to do with what's on the other side of the fence. Because they think, that's whatever. I got my little piece of the pie right here. But it takes a lot of work to let go of yourself, to let go of your ego. There's so much more beyond your ego. I talk about exercise and health and stuff, but what I'm really talking about is spirituality, and not religion. I call it practical spirituality, which is, in a nutshell, don't be a jerk to your neighbor, But what I'm really talking about is spirituality and mindfulness and being aware and getting rid of your ego. I'm not egoless, but I work very hard to shrink it and shrink it and shrink it. It's like a tumor. And I do my best every day to shrink it. Will I ever get rid of it completely? I don't know. The balance of life, maybe we need a little bit of our ego. Like today, working out with weights. I do that in part because it helps me to see how important calisthenics is, because sometimes I forget. Sometimes I need to take a trip into ego land to realize and to see again, oh, hey, yeah, there is a reason why I stopped doing this. There is a reason why I let this go. It's very important. And I try to hammer it to people. I don't know. It's important. If you want to make it to Pandora, if you want to see Pandora, you got to let go of your ego. And it's a hard thing, but it doesn't have to be hard. It just requires you to work on yourself and you to acknowledge that and to let go of your ego and to work on that instead of building your ego. Everyone around here, and again, I use America as an example, a lot of people in America are built on building their egos and not letting go of it. They don't care about what's on the other side of the fence. They only care about their piece of the pie. And if you want to get on the other side of the fence, you gotta let go of that you gotta let go of that pie. You can either have a piece of the pie or you can have the whole bakery. But most of us were more concerned about mine. This is mine, I'm keeping this. So, trying to think if I missed anything. I think that's it for now. I haven't eaten yet. I'm gonna go inside and eat. If you have any questions about anything, again, if you are watching this, thank you, sir or ma'am. If you have any questions or anything that you'd like to talk to me about, or want me to talk about in the next video, just shoot me an email at davidlaser@trulyhealthynow.com. I sent myself a test email, so it works. I'll be happy to answer any of your questions or to talk to you. And before I leave, let me repeat, the ego is like an iceberg, but beneath it is a vast ocean.